What's up, Skull Nation? Buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you is gonna shake the very foundation of everything you thought you knew about this Vikings roster. We're talking about moves that happened just hours ago, decisions that are already sending ripples through the entire NFC North, and I guarantee you haven't heard the full story yet. Picture this. It's Tuesday night, cut day chaos is in full swing, and while you were probably sleeping, Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah were making moves that could define our entire season. But here's the thing that's gonna blow your mind. These aren't just random roster adjustments. No. What we witnessed in the last 48 hours was a chess match, and every single piece that moved tells us exactly what this franchise is thinking about our Super Bowl chances. You think you know what happened. You think Adam Thielen coming home was the only story. Brother, sister, that was just the appetizer. We got cornerback conspiracies, we got veteran guards jumping ship, we've got undrafted rookies getting snatched away like candy from a baby, and we've got trade negotiations that fell through at the last second involving a receiver you definitely didn't see coming. I'm talking about moves that happened while ESPN was still talking about other teams. Moves that show you exactly how this front office sees our window right now. Are we in win now mode, or are we building for the future? The answer is going to surprise you. But before I dive into this rabbit hole of purple and gold drama, I need you to do me one favor. Hit that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me what you think our biggest need still is after all these moves. And make sure you're subscribed, because what I'm about to reveal is going to change how you see this entire roster construction. Trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to have a completely different perspective on where we're headed this season. Ready? Let's start with the move that nobody saw coming, but everybody should have expected. The rumors started swirling on Wednesday morning like a Minnesota blizzard in January. Whispers in the hallways of the Vikings facility, insiders making cryptic posts on social media, and then suddenly, boom! The announcement dropped like a thunderbolt that lit up every Vikings fan's phone notification. But let me paint you the picture of why this move happened, because the story behind it is even crazier than the move itself. Remember last season when Stephon Gilmore went down with that hamstring issue? Remember how exposed our secondary looked when we had to shuffle bodies around like deck chairs on the Titanic? Well, Fabian Moreau was the guy who stepped up, and apparently Kevin O'Connell never forgot that. This 31-year-old cornerback wasn't just sitting on his couch waiting for his phone to ring. Oh no, this dude was grinding. After getting cut by the 49ers, aka the 49ers just 3 weeks ago, most people would have started planning their retirement party. Not Moreau. This guy was working out, staying in shape, and betting on himself that the right opportunity would come calling. And guess what? It did. The Vikings announced on Wednesday afternoon that they're bringing back the veteran defensive back to their practice squad. And let me tell you why this is absolutely genius. First off, our cornerback room right now consists of exactly 4 bodies. Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rodgers, Jeff Okudah, and Dwight McGlothern. 4, that's it. You could count them on one hand and still have a thumb left over. Sure, we've got Taviere Thomas listed as a safety, but he's played slot corner before, so technically we're looking at maybe 5 guys who can cover receivers. In today's NFL, where teams are throwing the ball 40 times a game, that's basically playing Russian roulette with our entire season. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is going to blow your football mind. Moreau isn't just some random veteran looking for a paycheck. This guy has been in the trenches for 8 NFL seasons. Washington, Atlanta, New York Giants, Denver, and now back to Minnesota for round 2. He's played 113 games in this league, started 56 of them, and has 7 interceptions to his name. Those aren't Hall of Fame numbers, but you know what they are? They're the numbers of a guy who knows how to survive in this league, a guy who understands NFL routes, NFL timing, and NFL receivers. And when Byron Murphy Jr. tweaks an ankle or Isaiah Rodgers gets dinged up, you want that guy on speed dial, not scrambling to sign someone off the street who's been out of football for 6 months. The Pro Football Focus grades tell the real story here, and I'm gonna break this down for you like you're sitting next to me at a sports bar. From 2017 to 2024, Moreau's grades range from the low 50s to the mid 60s. That might sound terrible if you don't understand PFF grading, but here's the truth. He's consistently been an average to below average starter, which makes him an above average backup. In 2024, playing for us, he posted a 63.2 grade in limited action. That's not Pro Bowl material, but it's exactly what you want from your fifth cornerback. When Moreau came in for injured Gilmore late last season, he struggled in his first game back. Looked shaky, seemed out of rhythm, but by his second and third appearances, the guy settled in like he'd been playing in Brian Flores' system all season long. That's veteran savvy, that's NFL experience, and that's exactly the kind of insurance policy you want on your practice squad. Now here's the million-dollar question. Skull Nation, is this move telling us something about the health of our current cornerbacks? Are we expecting someone to miss time? Or is this just smart roster management by a front office that learned from last year's secondary disasters? What do you think? Drop your theories in the comments, because this next story is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about our offensive line depth. Tuesday night felt like the longest night of the NFL calendar, and for good reason. Cut day is brutal, it's emotional, and it separates the dreamers from the achievers in the most heartless way possible. But sometimes, just sometimes, one team's trash becomes another team's treasure. And that's exactly what happened with our former guard Dalton Risner. Picture the scene. Veteran offensive lineman, 30 years old, coming off a solid season where he started 8 games for us at right guard, suddenly finds himself unemployed after Tuesday's roster cuts. Most guys his age would be making phone calls to their agents, maybe thinking about retirement, possibly wondering if this is how their NFL story ends. Not Risner. This Kansas State product, this former second-round pick by the Broncos back in 2019, this guy who's made over $7 million in NFL salary, decided he wasn't done grinding. So what does he do? He schedules workouts. Not just one workout, not just a casual visit, but multiple workouts with multiple teams. The Bengals and the Seahawks both got a chance to see what this veteran guard still has in the tank. And according to Jordan Schultz, who broke this story, Risner didn't just show up to these workouts. He dominated them. The report specifically mentioned that he had a strong meeting and workout with Cincinnati, and that both sides plan to stay in touch. That's NFL speak for, we're definitely interested. We just need to work out the details. Well, those details got worked out real quick. On Wednesday, just hours after we're all processing the Adam Thielen news, boom! The Bengals announced they're signing Dalton Risner to a contract. Just like that, a guy who was blocking for Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison on Tuesday is now going to be protecting Joe Burrow's blindside. And you know what the craziest part is? This move makes perfect sense for everyone involved. The Bengals needed offensive line depth after some injury concerns. Risner needed a job with a contender, and we needed to make room for other priorities. But here's what this move really tells us, and pay attention because this is important. Our offensive line evaluation might be better than we thought. Think about it. We had Risner for a full season. We saw him in practice every day. We knew exactly what he could and couldn't do. And when push came to shove on cut day, we decided other players were more valuable to our future. That's not disrespectful to Risner. That's confidence in our offensive line development. Whether it's confidence in our younger guys stepping up, confidence in our starting 5 staying healthy, or confidence that we can find better options elsewhere, this move signals that our front office believes our offensive line situation is more stable than most people think. But was letting Risner walk the right decision? Are we going to regret this when someone gets hurt? What do you think, Vikings fans? Was this the right call, or are we going to miss his veteran presence when things get tough? Keep that debate going in the comments, because what I'm about to tell you next involves 2 players who we definitely didn't want to lose. Cut day in the NFL is like a tornado tearing through dreams, and when the dust settled on Tuesday, 2 Vikings players found themselves in purple jerseys for the last time. But here's where this story gets absolutely wild, and I need you to pay close attention because what happened next exposes everything about how other teams view our talent evaluation. Reddy Stewart, me, and Dorian Mousy weren't just cut and forgotten. Oh no, these guys got snatched up so fast it would make your head spin. And the teams that claim them tell us everything we need to know about what we just lost. Let's start with Reddy Stewart, because this story has more twists than a soap opera. This cornerback wasn't even on most people's radar during training camp, buried so deep on our depth chart that you needed a mining helmet to find him. But apparently somebody was watching, somebody was taking notes, and that somebody was Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Wait, this gets better. Eberflus was the head coach of the Chicago Bears when Stewart first entered the league as an undrafted rookie. The Bears cut him, stashed him on their practice squad, and then when Chicago's season imploded and Eberflus got fired, Stewart had a choice of where to go next. He chose Minnesota. He chose us. He believed in our system, believed in Brian Flores' defense, believed that he could develop into something special in purple and gold. And you know what? He was right. Stewart played incredibly well in the preseason, showing coverage skills that had coaches and fans talking. But here's the cruel irony of the NFL. Just as he was proving he belonged, we had to make the hardest decision in football. We had to choose between keeping talent and keeping numbers balanced. We chose numbers. Dallas chose talent. Now Stewart is competing with former Vikings draft pick Andrew Booth Jr. in Dallas, which means two former Vikings cornerbacks are battling for the same spot on America's team. But the story doesn't end there, because Dorian Mausey got claimed too, and this one stings differently. This Auburn product was an undrafted free agent who made our roster through pure grit and determination. 6'1", 234 pounds of linebacker fury who played 5 different special teams phases during the preseason. 5! This guy wasn't just a linebacker. He was a Swiss Army knife who could contribute immediately on coverage units, return units, you name it. The Tennessee Titans saw that versatility and said, we need that guy right now. Tom Pelissero confirmed the claim, and just like that, Mausey went from fighting for a spot in Minneapolis to having a legitimate chance to contribute in Nashville. The Titans kept only 3 other linebackers, Cody Barton, Cedric Gray, and James Williams Sr. That means Mausey isn't just going to be a practice squad body, he's going to get real opportunities to prove himself on Sundays. Meanwhile, we kept Austin Keys, Mausey's college teammate from Auburn, on our 53-man roster. 2 Auburn linebackers, same college, same draft class, but only one gets to stay in Minnesota. Does that decision make sense? Are we going to regret letting Mausey walk when we see him making plays in a Titans uniform? And here's the question that should keep every Vikings fan up at night. If other teams saw enough value in these players to use waiver priority on them, what does that say about our evaluation process? Are we getting better at identifying talent, or are we getting worse at keeping it? The answer to that question might define our entire season and what I'm about to tell you about our practice squad moves is going to add even more fuel to this fire. When the waiver dust settled and the smoke cleared from Tuesday's roster bloodbath, something beautiful happened in Vikings territory. Something that proved our coaching staff and front office learned their lesson from the painful cuts they just made. Because while we lost some talent to other teams, we also managed to bring back some of our own. And the guys we kept tell you everything about what Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell really think about our championship chances this year. Gabriel Murphy was the shocking cut that had every Vikings fan doing double takes on Tuesday morning. This outside linebacker, this undrafted rookie who came out of nowhere last season to register one. 5 sacks in the preseason. This guy who looked like he was about to break out in a big way suddenly found himself unemployed. The cut was so surprising that even the national media couldn't believe it. Here's a guy who impressed as an undrafted free agent in his rookie year, dealt with some injury issues that limited his development, and then came back this preseason looking absolutely dominant. And I mean dominant. His performance in that first preseason game wasn't just good, it was spectacular. Pass rush moves that would make veteran edge rushers jealous, motor that never stopped running, instincts that you simply cannot teach. So when he hit waivers, everyone expected someone to claim him. The Packers could use pass rush help. The Bears are always looking for edge rushers. The Lions have been building their defensive line all offseason. But guess what happened? Crickets. Every single team in the NFL passed on Gabriel Murphy, which meant we could bring him back to our practice squad without losing him to another organization. That's either the smartest move we've made all offseason, or every other team in the NFL knows something about Murphy that we don't. Then there's Koitaki Taimani, and this signing might be the most underrated move of our entire roster construction. This defensive tackle out of Oregon, this second-year undrafted free agent who actually made our roster as a rookie last season, brings something that none of our current defensive tackles can match. Pure nose tackle ability. We traded away Harrison Phillips, which left us with 6 defensive tackles on the active roster, but none of them are true nose tackles like Taimani. In Brian Flores' system, where we need big bodies to eat up blocks and stop the run, Taimani could be the most important practice squad player we have. Zemaiah Vaughn is the cornerback story that could write itself into Vikings lore by December. This undrafted rookie out of Utah generated serious buzz during OTAs and minicamp, had coaches talking about his potential during training camp, but struggled when the lights got bright in preseason games. Sound familiar? That's the exact same story as half the cornerbacks currently starting in this league. The difference between a practice squad guy and a starter is often just opportunity and development time. We kept only 4 cornerbacks on the active roster, which means we're definitely going to need cornerback help at some point this season. Vaughn gets to develop behind the scenes while staying ready for that phone call. Xavier Valade and Dante Fleming round out our practice squad additions, and both of these guys flash serious potential in that final preseason game against the Titans. Valade rushed 8 times for 39 yards in limited action, showing vision and burst that could make him a factor if our running back room takes any hits. Fleming caught 2 passes for 53 yards from the quarterbacks who probably won't make another NFL roster, proving he can create separation and make contested catches even when the quarterback play is questionable. But here's what all these practice squad signings really mean, Skull Nation, and this is the part where you need to pay attention. This isn't just about depth. This isn't just about having warm bodies for practice. This is about building a culture where guys fight for everything, where competition drives excellence, where even the practice squad players know they're one phone call away from starting on Sunday. Kevin O'Connell is building something special here. And it starts with making sure every single player in the building believes they have a chance to contribute to something historic. Are these practice squad moves going to win us games? Probably not directly. But are they going to create the depth and competition that championship teams need? Are they going to be the guys who step up when injuries hit and adversity comes calling? That remains to be seen. But what happened next in our receiver room is going to make you question everything about how close we came to a completely different roster. The Adam Thielen homecoming was the feel-good story that had every Vikings fan crying happy tears and posting throwback highlights on social media. But what if I told you that Thielen almost wasn't the receiver we brought home? What if I told you that while all of us were celebrating the return of our beloved number 19, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah was simultaneously working the phones on a completely different deal that could have changed everything? Kendrick Bourne. Remember that name, because this 30-year-old receiver almost became the newest member of our Purple Army. According to Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald, the Patriots and Vikings were in active trade negotiations to send Bourne to Minneapolis. And these weren't just preliminary discussions. These were serious, detailed conversations about draft compensation, salary considerations, and roster construction. The Patriots needed a clear receiver spots after accumulating 8 wideouts on their initial 53-man roster, and we needed reliable hands for Jordan Addison's 3-game suspension. It was a match made in football heaven, except for one tiny detail. The trade fell through at the last second. Why? Nobody's saying publicly, but I'll give you my theory. The moment our front office realized they could get Adam Thielen for less compensation, less salary complexity, and way more emotional impact, they pivoted faster than Justin Jefferson running a comeback route. And honestly, that might have been the right call. But let's think about what almost happened here. Bourne brings 45 catches for 569 yards and 3 touchdowns per season on average. That's reliable WR2 or WR3 production from a guy who's played in big games, knows how to handle pressure, and has experience in multiple offensive systems. For 3 games, while Addison serves his suspension, that production could have been exactly what we needed. Instead, we're rolling with a receiving core that includes Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Jalen Naylor, Ty Felton, Tim Jones, and Miles Price, with Addison returning in week 4. That's still a talented group, but it's also a group with question marks. Naylor's dealing with injury concerns, the rookies are unproven, and we're asking Thielen to immediately step back into an offense he hasn't played in for 2 seasons. ESPN's Adam Schefter and Mike Garafolo both confirmed that multiple teams are now interested in Bourne after he was released by New England, which means we could still make a move if we want to. The Patriots released him after the trade talks collapsed, so now we could sign him without giving up any draft capital. No trade compensation, no salary matching, just a straight signing. But here's the real question, Vikings fans. Do we need another receiver, or are we good with what we've got? TJ. Hawkinson is going to demand his targets, our running game might be featured more heavily this season, and we've already got 7 receivers on the roster, counting the suspended Addison. Maybe 7 is enough. Maybe 8 would be too many, or maybe, just maybe, having too many weapons is exactly the kind of problem championship teams should want to have. With Bourne still available and interest reportedly mutual, this story isn't over yet. Are we going to make another move, or are we comfortable riding with the guys we've got? The next few days could give us our answer, but what I can tell you right now is that this offseason has shown us something incredible about our front office. They're not afraid to make moves. They're not afraid to take risks, and they're definitely not afraid to bet on talent over comfort. From bringing back Fabian Moreau to almost trading for Kendrick Bourne to the practice squad moves, that show we value development and competition. This has been a masterclass in roster construction, but the real test starts September 8th when we line up for Game 1. Are these moves going to translate to wins? Are we going to look back on this offseason as the foundation of something special? Or are we going to regret the chances we didn't take and the players we let walk away? Only one way to find out. Skull Nation, the season starts soon. And if these last 48 hours taught us anything, it's that this Vikings team isn't afraid to make the tough decisions, take the calculated risks, and bet everything on bringing a championship back to Minneapolis. Before you go, I need 3 things from you. Smash that like button if this breakdown opened your eyes to something you hadn't considered. Drop a comment telling me which of these moves you think will have the biggest impact on our season, and subscribe if you want to stay ahead of every single Viking story before it hits the mainstream media. Because trust me, with the way this team operates, there's always another plot twist coming, and you're going to want to hear it from someone who's not afraid to tell you the whole truth. Skull Vikings, see you in the next one, and remember, this is our year to prove that purple and gold isn't just a color combination, it's a championship mindset. Let's go get that ring.